Hey everyone, today we're diving into The Puppetman, a horror thriller from 2023. It's a story about secrets, fears, and how sometimes the scariest things are the ones we can't see coming. So get comfortable, and let's explore this chilling tale together. The movie opens in eerie calm. Patricia, a married woman, is in the kitchen, going about her usual routine, preparing a meal like it's just another ordinary day. Suddenly, her husband David storms in. He's visibly shaken, panic written all over his face. With urgency in his voice, he tells her to run. Stunned, Patricia freezes, staring at him in disbelief. But before she can react, David's demeanor shifts violently. His fear turns into fury. He lunges at her, attacking her with a rage that comes out of nowhere. Desperate, Patricia tries to flee, but it's too late. In the midst of the chaos, David mutters something cryptic. "It's not me," just moments before stabbing her repeatedly, ending her life in cold blood. Just a few steps away, the camera pans to a haunting sight. A young child, trapped inside a small, cage-like room, helpless and alone. The story then jumps to the present day. Michael, now a college student, is trying to piece together a normal life, despite the horrifying shadows of her past. She shares a dorm room with her best friend, Charlie. As the movie picks up pace, the two are engrossed in a popular podcast, one that retells the grim and chilling story of Michael's father. The episode stirs something inside Michael, reopening old wounds she tried to bury. Charlie, however, seems morbidly fascinated by the tale. Their small friend group includes Joe, a focused medical student, Glenn, the loud and confident gym buff, and Danny, Michael's loving and supportive boyfriend. Together, they navigate college life, laughter by day, secrets by night. But something about the Puppetman killer gets under Charlie's skin. Quietly obsessed, she begins her own investigation, wondering if Michelle might have inherited any dark tendencies from her father. Meanwhile, Michelle is unraveling. She's tormented by recurring nightmares from her childhood. She scratches at an old injury on her hand, an anxious habit, and draws 3 strange, cryptic lines on the wall. The symbol is always the same, the one that haunts her dreams. Disturbed, she starts noticing strange events around her. Flocks of black ravens follow her wherever she goes. Silent, watchful, ominous. It feels like something terrible is coming. One night, the group manages to buy liquor despite being underage. Later, Danny walks Michael back to her dorm, but when she invites him in, he declines, leaving her alone. Inside, Michael notices something strange. Messages popping up on Charlie's laptop. Curiosity overtakes her, and she opens a hidden folder only to discover videos. Videos of herself, sleepwalking. Shock floods her. Charlie had been secretly recording her at night. Clip after clip, McCall watches herself wandering, unaware. When Charlie returns, she finds Michelle at her laptop. Caught and confronted, Charlie insists she only did it to protect her, claiming the recordings were private and meant for safety. But the damage is done. Michael feels betrayed by the one person she trusted most. That night, at a rooftop party, things boil over. The gathering begins lighthearted, stories, laughter, music. But then Glenn, drunk and unfiltered, starts mocking Michael about her father and her sleepwalking. Her blood runs cold, someone told him. And the only person who knew was Charlie. Though Charlie denies it, Michael's trust in her begins to crumble. And just like that, the shadows of the past creep back in, darker than ever. Suddenly, Charlie freezes. She whispers that she can't move, as if an invisible force has her in its grip. At first, the group laughs it off, thinking she's pulling a prank. But the amusement quickly turns to panic. Charlie's eyes fill with terror. Before anyone can react, she's helplessly pulled backward, falling to her death. The impact is instant and fatal. In the aftermath, Michael is questioned by police. Shaken and pale, she describes the look in Charlie's eyes just before she fell. A look of pure terror, a terror that seemed aimed at Michelle herself. Still reeling, Michelle returns to her dorm. Once again, she notices the eerie black ravens following her. That night, a sudden thud jolts her from sleep, the sound of birds slamming into her window. It's as if something or someone is trying to break through. Elsewhere, Danny grows increasingly concerned for Michael's safety. He heads to her dorm, knocking gently on the door. When she doesn't answer, he waits outside, refusing to leave. Eventually, he dozes off. In the dead of night, A sharp noise startles him awake. He notices the door is slightly ajar and Michael is gone. Heart racing, he rushes to the rooftop and finds her. She's standing at the edge, swaying in a trance, dangerously close to falling. She's sleepwalking again. Without hesitation, Danny pulls her back to safety, just in time. Desperate for answers, the group decides to reach out to Charlie's mother. That's when they learn a chilling detail. Charlie had been secretly meeting with a psychic named Ruby, out of fear. Following the trail, the friends visit Ruby's home. As they wait in the living room, McCall's eyes land on a book resting on a nearby shelf, The Cult of Dolos. On its cover, the same symbol she's been drawing in her sleep, haunting, familiar, and deeply unsettling. With nowhere else to turn, the group begs Ruby to hold a seance. They hope to contact Michael's deceased mother, Patricia, believing her spirit might hold the answers they so desperately need. During the seance, Ruby is possessed. She scribbles a bone-chilling message. "I killed Charlie." Silence fills the room. Horrified, Michelle demands to know who the spirit is. But before Ruby can respond, she's overtaken again, this time writing a new message. "I am Michelle." The revelation is paralyzing. Michael is left speechless, struggling to believe she could have had any part, direct or not, in Charlie's death. Only Danny believes her. He stands by her, refusing to abandon her, even as fear and suspicion grip the rest of the group. The tension intensifies when Jo uncovers more clues, this time on Charlie's laptop. She finds the same book, The Cult of Dolos. Something isn't right. As Michael's sleepwalking episodes grow more frequent and disturbing, her friends begin to truly see it. This is no ordinary sleep disorder. Something unnatural is at work. Disturbed but determined, Jo, once a skeptic, sneaks away to visit Ruby alone. She asks to borrow the mysterious book. Ruby agrees, but with a warning. Keep it away from Michelle, at all costs. With no way to reach Danny or Glenn, Jo decides to continue the investigation on her own. Late one night, she sneaks into a quiet library, flipping through the pages of the ancient text. The words she reads send chills down her spine. The book speaks of an ancient ritual designed to summon a dark and malevolent entity. It requires a union of opposites, light and darkness, innocence and sin. And the cost? Those who resist it lose control of themselves. They become its puppets. Jo is left deeply disturbed by the horrifying revelations in the book. Desperate for answers, she tries to call Ruby, but before she can act, the dark force described in the book takes hold of her. Suddenly, Jo loses all control. In a chilling sequence, the cigarette she had been holding drops onto the ancient pages, igniting the book in an instant. Flames erupt, and before she can scream, her face is violently pulled into the fire, consumed in a gruesome, agonizing death. At that very moment, Glenn meets his own terrifying end at the gym. While lifting weights, the entity seizes his body, forcing him to stack an impossible amount of weight on the bar. With no way to stop, the bar crashes down, crushing his face in a blood-curdling accident. Unaware of the tragedies that have just unfolded, Danny takes Michelle to visit her imprisoned father. The reunion is cold, tense, and filled with unanswered questions. Michael demands to know why he killed her mother. Her father explains the horrifying truth. The entity reacts to her emotions. When she feels rage or despair, it lashes out with deadly violence. On the way back, Danny tries to comfort her, but a supernatural force prevents him from even touching her. Then his phone rings. It's the police. The devastating news hits hard. Jo and Glenn are dead. Overwhelmed with grief, Michael spirals into a dark depression. She walks into traffic, seemingly ready to end it all, but the cars stop. It's not luck, it's the entity. Later, she climbs onto a bridge, preparing to jump, only to be violently thrown back by the very force inside her. Danny, helpless and afraid, reaches out to Ruby once more, begging for help, but Ruby, now terrified of the entity's power, refuses. Burdened with guilt, she finally contacts Detective Al, revealing the horrifying chain of events. Meanwhile, as Michael and Danny drive back to the dorm, the entity strikes again, this time through Danny. Under its control, he brutally breaks his own fingers and slams his head against the steering wheel. In shock, Michael rushes to the police station. She confesses to multiple murders and begs an officer to end her life. But before he can respond, the entity possesses him. forcing him to shoot himself. More officers arrive, only to fall victim to the same terrible fate. Detective Al arrives just in time, tranquilizing Michelle and taking her to Ruby's house. Ruby deduces that the sedative temporarily weakens the entity's hold. The detective suggests a grim solution, ending Michelle's life. But Ruby warns, the entity might retaliate, even after death. Ruby performs the seance one last time. She hands Michelle a pen, and Michelle begins to write. That's when she remembers. Her father once said he wanted to become the vessel for the entity. She writes it down, and suddenly, a desperate plan forms. Detective Al and Ruby realize if they can transfer Dolos into her father during his execution, they might finally end this nightmare. On the day of the execution, Michael visits her father. Through tears, she begs him to take the entity back. He agrees, moved by her pain. With Ruby's help, they perform the ritual. As the execution begins, Dolos briefly takes control of the doctor, trying to stop the injection, but it's too late. The dose is delivered, and her father dies. For a moment, everything seems calm. But just before the screen fades, Michelle's expression slowly shifts into a strange, unsettling smile, and that was the Puppetman. At first, it seems like Michelle or her father might be the killer. But the truth is, they were both victims. A supernatural force, known as Dolos, or the Puppetman, was controlling them like puppets, using their bodies to carry out brutal murders. It feeds on strong emotions like fear and grief, slowly taking over. Even after trying to stop it, the ending hints that the evil hasn't left. Maybe it never will. Evil, in this story, doesn't need a reason. It just needs someone to hold the strings. If this story chilled your spine, hit that subscribe button and stay close. Because in our world, the next nightmare is always one click away.